The graduation party was at my mother's country club. My nephew Justin had just finished his freshman year at Westfield University, and I'd given him a gift basket with a $100 Visa gift card inside. Justin pulled out the card and looked at my mother across the patio. "Grandma," he called out loudly enough for the entire party to hear, "Aunt Claire gave me a gift card." My mother set down her champagne glass and walked over, her heels clicking on the stone patio. She picked up the card, examined it like evidence, and smiled, that particular smile that meant she was about to say something cutting. "Oh, Claire," she said, her voice carrying across the party. "You know Justin's other aunts and uncles gave him real gifts. Sarah gave him that laptop. James gave him those AirPods. Thomas gave him $500 cash." She handed the card back to Justin. "But it's sweet that you tried. We know you can't afford much on your salary." Justin looked embarrassed. Several relatives standing nearby smirked. My sister Sarah actually laughed, not even bothering to hide it. "It's fine, Aunt Claire," Justin said quietly, clearly uncomfortable being in the middle of this. I stood up, collected my purse, and walked toward the exit. "Claire, where are you going?" Mom called after me. "We haven't even had cake yet." I didn't respond. I just kept walking to my car. Behind me, I heard Mom say to someone, "She's always been so sensitive about money." I don't know where I went wrong with that one. I drove home in silence, my hands steady on the wheel despite the anger burning in my chest. At 9:47 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "The fall tuition payment is due August 1st. Can you handle it like usual? It's $28,500 this semester." I stared at the message for a long moment. For 3 years, since Justin started at Westfield, I've been paying his tuition. The arrangement had begun when my brother-in-law lost his job and they couldn't afford the payments. I quietly stepped in, telling them I'd help out until they got back on their feet. They never got back on their feet, and I never stopped paying. To them, I was their struggling younger sister who worked some vague job in university administration and somehow scraped together tuition money out of sisterly obligation. They'd never asked for details. They just accepted the help and continued treating me like the family disappointment. I typed back, "Indeed it is due." Mom responded immediately, "So you'll transfer at the end of July. They send the reminder notice if it's late." I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into my email, the one connected to the Westfield University Foundation, where I served as both a trustee and the chair of the Major Gifts Committee. My official title at Westfield wasn't on any document my family had ever seen. They knew I worked there, had for 12 years, but assumed I was in some administrative role. Financial aid processing, maybe. Student services. They didn't know I was the executive director of development. They didn't know that 6 years ago, after receiving an inheritance from my late aunt, Margaret Harrison, I'd given $4.2 million to build Westfield's Science and Technology Center, named Harrison Innovation Hall after her. My family had been invited to the dedication. None of them came. They'd walked past that building 100 times visiting Justin, never making the connection. I pulled up the university's internal database and searched for Justin's account. Tuition payments for the past 3 years, all marked as coming from external scholarship, private family fund. I'd structured it that way intentionally. The payments came through the foundation, processed as a scholarship, so Justin and his parents never saw my name on the bills. They just knew the money appeared when needed. I opened a new email and addressed it to Patricia Ward, Director of Student Financial Services. "Patricia, please be advised that the private family fund scholarship for student Justin Morrison will not be renewed for the fall semester. All future payments from this fund are suspended effective immediately. Please process the change and send the standard notification to the family. Best regards, Clare Harrison, Executive Director of Development." I hit send before I could reconsider. The email from Patricia came back within an hour. She processed the change, and the system had automatically generated a notification to Justin's family account, informing them that their scholarship had been discontinued and the full tuition balance of $28,500 was now due. My phone started ringing at 6:47 a.m. "Mom." I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 7:02, again at 7:15. At 7:30, a text appeared. "Claire, call me immediately. There's a problem with Justin's tuition." I didn't respond. At 8:00 a.m., my office phone at the university rang. My assistant Jennifer answered, then buzzed my line. Claire, your mother is on hold. She says it's urgent and she needs to speak with you about a student account issue. I told her you handle development, not student accounts, but she's insisting. Tell her I'm in meetings all morning and she'll need to contact Student Financial Services directly. She said she already did, and they told her the decision came from your office. I paused. Patricia must have listed my office as the source when she processed the change. Tell her I'll call her back when I'm available. Understood. At 10:30 a.m., I met with President Morrison about the library expansion. We should recognize our top anonymous donors this fall, he said. The Harrison gift, $4.2 million, is transformative. We should honor that contribution publicly. The building dedication was sufficient, I said. He nodded. We're discussing creating a Harrison Scholar program, full rides for STEM students. A matching campaign could endow it properly. I nodded noncommittally. He had no idea the Harrison family he wanted to court was sitting across from him. After the meeting, I returned to my office to find 17 missed calls from various family members. Mom, Sarah, my brother Thomas, even my brother-in-law Dave, Justin's father. I didn't return any of them. At 2:00 p.m., my assistant buzzed again. Claire, your mother is in the lobby. She doesn't have an appointment, but she's refusing to leave until she speaks with you. Security called and asked if they should escort her out, but I thought I should check with you first. I closed my eyes. Send her up. Mom appeared in my office doorway 3 minutes later, her face flushed and her designer handbag clutched tightly. What is going on? She demanded, not bothering with a greeting. Justin's scholarship was canceled. They're saying he owes $28,500 by August 1st or he can't register for fall classes. The financial aid office said the decision came from your department. But that doesn't make any sense because you don't work in financial aid. Sit down, Mom. I don't want to sit down. I want to know why you're involved in this. Did you make some kind of mistake processing paperwork? Did you accidentally delete something? I didn't make a mistake. The scholarship was discontinued because I decided to discontinue it. She stared at me. You decided? Claire, you don't have authority over scholarships. You work in administration. I work in development. I'm the executive director. I manage all major gifts and donor relations for the university. Her mouth opened, then closed. That can't be your title. You would have told us. Why would I tell you? You've never asked about my job, not once in 12 years. But she looked around my office, seeing it properly for the first time, the large window overlooking campus, the diplomas on the wall, including the fade I'd earned part-time, the photos with university presidents and state governors. I don't understand. The scholarship Justin's been receiving for 3 years was from a private fund, my private fund. I've been paying his tuition the entire time, not helping out, paying it fully, through a foundation I established. Mom sat down slowly in the chair across from my desk. You've been paying, but you said you'd help us temporarily. You made it sound like you were scraping together money too. To what? To help my family who thinks I can't afford real gifts, she flinched. You stood in front of 30 people yesterday and told everyone that I'm too poor to give my nephew a proper graduation present. You've spent years telling people I'm the struggling one, the disappointment, the sister who never amounted to much. Meanwhile, I've been paying $28,500 per semester for your grandson to attend the university where I work. Claire, I didn't know. You didn't ask. None of you asked. You just assumed. She looked down at her hands. The scholarship can't just disappear. Justin needs that money. Dave still hasn't found steady work. And we can't cover $28,500 in 3 weeks. Then Justin will need to take out loans, or transfer to a less expensive school, or take a semester off to work. You can't do this to him. He's your nephew. He's my nephew who watched his grandmother mock my gift yesterday and said nothing, who accepted a laptop and AirPods and $500 cash from everyone else and looked at my $100 gift card like it was an insult. He's 19 years old enough to learn that actions have consequences. Mom stood up, her purse clutched against her chest. I'm calling the president of this university. I'll tell him you're abusing your position to punish your family. President Morrison and I meet weekly. Feel free to call him. He'll tell you that all scholarship decisions from private funds are at the discretion of the donor. That's me. She stared at me, and I watched her realize that I wasn't bluffing, that I actually had the authority I was claiming. When did you become so cold? She asked quietly. Around the same time, my family decided I was a failure while I was paying for their lives. She left without another word. The family group chat erupted over the next 48 hours. I'd been removed from it at some point, probably after Mom's visit, but my sister Sarah called to tell me everything that was being said. "They're panicking," Sarah said, her voice softer than I'd heard in years. "Mom told everyone what you do, about the scholarship, about your position. Thomas looked up your name and found you listed as a trustee. Dave found an article about a major donation to the Science Center from the Harrison Foundation. He realized that's Aunt Margaret's name. Good for Dave. Claire, they're talking about taking out loans. Justin might have to leave Westfield. There are plenty of good state schools. Are you really going to do this? You laughed yesterday, Sarah. When Mom said I couldn't afford real gifts, you actually laughed." Silence on the other end. "I spent 3 years paying for Justin's education," I continued. "I've donated millions to this university. I sit on the board. My aunt's name is on a building. And you all thought I was some low-level administrator who could barely scrape together gas money. We didn't know. Because you never asked. Because it was easier to believe I was failing than to acknowledge I might have succeeded." Sarah was quiet for a moment. "What would it take for you to reinstate the scholarship?" "An apology might be a start." "From Mom?" "From everyone who smirked yesterday when she said I couldn't afford real gifts." "Claire, I'm not asking for groveling, Sarah. I'm asking for basic acknowledgement that you all treated me like garbage while I was funding your children's futures." She hung up without responding. 3 days later, I received an email at my university address. "Dear Aunt Claire, my dad told me that you've been paying for my college this whole time. I didn't know. I thought it was financial aid or scholarships I'd earned. I'm sorry I didn't thank you. I'm sorry about what Grandma said at the party. I should have said something. I don't know if this will change anything, but I wanted you to know that I'm grateful. Even if I have to leave Westfield, I'm grateful for the 2 years you gave me here. They changed my life. Thank you, Justin." I read the email 3 times. Then I picked up my phone and called Patricia in Financial Services. "Patricia, it's Claire. That private family fund scholarship for Justin Morrison, let's reinstate it. Full tuition for the fall semester. Are you sure?" "I'm sure. But I want the scholarship letter sent to Justin directly this time, not his parents. And I wanted to list the donor name." "The Harrison Foundation?" "No. Claire Harrison, my full name. I want him to know exactly who's paying for his education. I'll process it today." After I hung up, I opened my email and replied to Justin. "Justin, your scholarship has been reinstated. You'll receive confirmation from Financial Services tomorrow. But I need you to understand something. This isn't charity. This is an investment in someone I believe has potential. Don't waste it. And Justin, next time someone in our family says something cruel about someone else, speak up. Silence is complicity. Aunt Claire." I hit send and closed my laptop. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Mom wants to apologize. Can she call you?" I typed back, "She can email. I'm not ready for phone calls. Some bridges take time to rebuild. Some lessons cost $28,500 a semester. And some families need to learn that the person they've been underestimating is the one who's been holding them up all along." The Harrison Innovation Hall gleamed in the afternoon sun outside my office window. Aunt Margaret would have appreciated the irony that her name lived on at a university where her niece worked, while her niece's own family had no idea of the impact she'd made. Maybe someday I'd tell them about the other donations, about the scholarship program we were planning, about the endowed chair in the engineering department. But for now, they could start by understanding that gift cards and grace come from the same person. And that person had been keeping them afloat longer than they'd ever known.